Bakerwals are Gujjars with a simple difference that they mostly rear goats and sheep. Bakar means goat and wala means the person to whom these goats belong and who also takes care of them and also depends on them. Bakerwals are nomadic tribes without any permanent residence and home, and often without any land to cultivate. Sheep and goat are their real assets, and their livelihoods mostly dependent on them, for which they have to rear these animals. And to rear these animals, Bakerwals lead a lonely and tough life in the high-altitude meadows of the Himalayas and the Pir Panchal.
जुल्फ़कार नाम है मेरा और हम रहने वाले काले कोट एरिया का है। मतलब वहाँ से हम पैदल आते हैं। अब मतलब जोरी हमारी डिस्ट्रिक्ट आती है, काला कोट तहसील है और गांव हमारा सुल्की पड़ता है। वहाँ से हम पैदल आते हैं अपने माल भूसी लेके और रास्ते में जिस वक्त पहुँचते हैं तो कभी बारिश तंग करती है हमें, कभी रास्ते में हमारा माल भी मरता है, नुकसान भी होता है। चलो उसी नुकसान की वजह से मगर हम अपना पेशा छोड़ता नहीं है। जिस वक्त हम यहाँ पहुँचते हैं अपने माल लेके, अगर जो ये माल हमारा खरीद से यहाँ पहुँचेंगे, अगर मरेंगे नहीं तो कमज़ोर बेशक होगा मगर उसके 2 महीने के बाद उसमें मतलब 10 किलो मीट एक बकरी में बढ़ेगा।
It's an economic necessity for the Bakerwals to move with their flocks in each season to areas where pastures are available. In search of green pastures for their herds and flocks, they travel from one place to other with their flock of sheep and goats, fleet of horses and dogs, and sure with the luggage and baggage.
मैं इब्राहिम कार्ल्स हूँ, मैं जम्मू का रहने वाला हूँ। हम 6 महीने पहाड़ों पर जाते हैं माल मवेशी लेकर। जो ज़िम्मेदारों का माल है उनको चराते हैं और उनसे उजरत लेते हैं। 400 रुपया एक बारों का, उसी पर अपना गुजारा करते हैं।
During winters, while snow covers the mountains in the north, relatively poor pastures are available in the south. By late April, these pastures are exhausted, and in the north, about 2,800 meter, melting of snow gives way to lush green pastures. Thus, both the winter and summer zones are characterized by availability of pasturage in a definite part of year. This leads to oscillation between the summer and the winter pasture zones. Every year they take their sheep high into the mountains above the tree line to graze in the lush meadows. The tracks of the Bakerwals start from their winter bases, situated between 600 and 1,200 meter above the sea level, south of the towns of Rajouri, Riasi, Udhampur and Samba. Although there are numerous passes in the Pir Panchal range, they follow either the Pir Panchal route or Banihal route. Bakerwals move from one place to other in kafilas, which is an important functional group among them. Kafila is a group of families which move together during the seasonal migration and submit to the authority of kafila leader. Kafilas are formed to assist each other during the arduous journey. However, it's not a permanent grouping. During the migration, the whole family accompany their sheep and goat. They are accompanied by their dogs, the famous Botia or Bakerwal dogs. Often the Sardar who leads the caravan travels on a mule. After him follow the horses, ladies and children, flocks of sheep, goats and hunting dogs. Dogs are very important for the Bakerwals. They protect them and their animals from thieves and more importantly from wild animals. It even helps to assemble the animals. There usually is a sort of communication between the sheep and goats and the dogs. Thus the dog performs the role of a protector and the role of a controlling agent.
होते हैं हमारे पास कुत्ता भी रात को ड्यूटी करना पड़ता है। एक आदमी को अगर यहाँ मतलब 7 चूल्हा है, 7 आदमी होगा तो 7 रात को 2 घंटा 1.5 घंटा उनको ड्यूटी करना पड़ती है। जिसका मतलब कुत्ता 3-4 अच्छा होगा, होशियार होगा कुत्ता, तो उसको भी थोड़ी टेंशन कम होती है।
When they are traveling, they don't know where they are heading. and after getting exhausted, they stop at any place. Life takes place during this travel. Such as the birth of babies and the marriage of their children.
मेरा नाम है अब्दुल लतीफ़। मैं बकरवाल हूँ और सरमा में तहसील कालाकोट रहता हूँ और गर्मा में यहाँ डिस्ट्रिक्ट रजौरी में आ जाता हूँ और भेड़ बकरियाँ लेकर और रजौरी से होता हुआ थाना मंडी से ये पीर पंजाल से सिपाहियों से श्रीनगर से इससे सोनामार से होता हुआ मीना मार आ जाता हूँ भेड़ बकरियाँ लेकर।
In appearance, the bakerwals are sharp-featured tall race. They're simple, less educated and inoffensive people. Bakerwals mostly wear waistcoat, shalwar kameez, kurta and pagdi, while women usually wear suttan. Sometimes long gown called jubo and Kazakhstani cap with cotton shawls. By faith, the bakerwals are followers of Islam. They accept and observe the basic principles of Islam. During the course of annual migration, they pass in succession. Many shrines and graves appears, the holy moon. Since they are on the move for most of the year, the social and cultural traditions are strongly influenced by the migratory pattern. The basic activities involve camping, herding and traveling. Marriage among these people is a simple ceremony. The marriages take place according to Islamic procedure. Among most of the bakerwals, the mangani, that is the engagement ceremony, is generally held at an early age. The nikah, that's the marriage, usually takes place after 4 or 5 years from the date of engagement. Marriages generally take place during summer, when everyone has more time to spare. The bridegroom's father is required to fix the meher at the time of marriage, in terms of animals, jewelry, money and other property. Singing of the traditional songs makes an important part of the marriage ceremony. So far as music is concerned, bakerwals like Algoza and Jori, their main folk songs are Chan, Mohiya, Dholan, Kanchi and Saiful Maluk. They usually abide by customs and traditions, followed by their ancestors. The customs and traditions are still in vogue, that dates back to hundreds of years. There's a division of labor among the members of household on the basis of sex and age. The males perform the domestic tasks of cooking, washing, fetching of water, upbringing of children, collection of wood, and spinning and making of woolen garments. All they know is to spend their entire life looking after their family members and livestock. They spend a routinal life cycle with only difference of day-to-day scenery. They don't have to stay in the same area and within the same 4 walls of their houses. Spending a few days or few weeks, they have to move on. The males perform more arduous tasks like herding a flock, repairing of tools and equipments, collection of grass, herbs, hunting of wild animals, etc. Children help their parents in different works. Bakerwals keep with them horses for riding and transportation, sheep and goat for production of wool, milk and meat. They sell surplus animals and their subsidy products and buy maize, rice and grocery from the villages for day-to-day consumption.
मेरा नाम इशफाक अहमद है। मैं सोनमर्ग में रहता हूँ। तो मेरा यहाँ पे दुकान है और हमारे पास गुजर बकरवाल आते हैं माल लेने के लिए कि चुनांचे हमें श्रीनगर से पहले माल लाना पड़ता है। और वो जो बकरवाल हैं, बकरवाल हो गए, हमारे पास आते हैं और हमारे से सौदा लेते हैं और वो पहाड़ियों पे जाते हैं। घोड़े होते हैं इनके साथ, तो वगैरह वगैरह माल लेते हैं हमारे से, तो चढ़ते हैं पहाड़ों पे, तो वहीं पे रहते हैं वो।
They usually move to the city of Srinagar during Eid al-Zuha, when demand for sheep and goat is high. During this time, they could be found here and there with flock of sheep, selling them at handsome rates and good profit. Bakerwals are less dependent on the outside world, though much of their needs are fulfilled in the outside world, and they have to remain connected with the outside markets. But since they live a more natural life, the day-to-day necessities are often fulfilled within the jungles and meadows they live in. They're more dependent on these products, which are available on these high pasture altitudes. They get much of food products from their surroundings in the form of natural vegetables and fruits, etc. To cook their food, they use the easily available wood in the jungles. Their women fetch the firewood from nearby areas. This firewood is used as room heaters as well. In earlier times, a special type of wood was used for lighting purposes also, but now such wood has been replaced by the solar lights, often provided to them by government through different schemes. Modernization and science have changed their life in other different ways. Some of them now have stopped to live in mud houses or chapras. Instead, they're using very sophisticated tents, which save them from cold and rains. But sometimes their life is very tough, and sometimes they even live in caves under the shadows and grass. Bakerwals have enough reasons to feel themselves lucky. They're different and more lucky than the modern man, who has reached heights but only uncompromising with his real self. Modern man has become more of a machine, but Bakerwal is yet about a machine. He has emotions. He's sympathetic even towards its animals. He has love in his heart, not only for his nears and dears, but for his animals as well.
हमारी भेड़ बकरियां जो बीमार होती है, इसकी हम खुद इलाज करते हैं। हमारे पास डॉक्टर नहीं है। जब डॉक्टर है तो उसके पास जाएंगे, वो हमें बोलेंगे ये दवा सब्सिडी छोड़कर ये हमें इतने में मिल गई, उसकी कीमत हमारे से ले लेते हैं।
He will let an ailing animal to stay beside him in his sleeping room. He will give them every care and love, that care and love which in modern man's dictionary is erasing very fastly, and that even for his nears and dears. Bakerwal is enjoying his true society. They have enough time to spend with each other. They're not in hurry as the modern man is. They're not in deadly and cutthroat competition, which has deprived modern man of his humanity. They live a very simple life under the open sky surrounded by nature. Gujjari is the language of Bakerwals, which is also known as Parimu, and is wholly different from Kashmiri or Dogri languages, but it's an Indo-Aryan language. The Bakerwals rarely intermix with the Kashmiris. They're different people with different culture and traditions, though like them they're Muslims by religion. Bakerwals are educationally very backward. The lack of home base restricts their access to education. Poverty is another factor which restricts their children to reach schools. Workload and illiteracy of whole society can be counted as another factor. In short, the Bakerwal children are found more in caretaking of the animals than in the schools. Government has done a lot for Bakerwals in the matter of education, by way of permanent and mobile schools. Thus, through mobile schools, their access to education is made available throughout the year. It has helped to some extent and through different NGOs and teachers, many of parents have now been motivated to send their children to schools. But the real goal to educate every bakerwal child is yet far away, and much is needed to be done in this regard. Keeping in view the pathetic conditions of the Gujjars and bakerwals, the state-level Gujjar Bakerwal Advisory Board was constituted in 1973-74, the main aim of which was multi-dimensional development of the tribe. Starting of Gujjar and Bakerwal hostel at district level with free boarding and lodging facilities is one of the steps in this regard. Now Bakerwals are taken in special category of scheduled tribes with reservation in employment and other different fields. For the development of their language and culture, Radio Kashmir and also the Jammu and Kashmir Culture Academy are playing their part. The Radio Kashmir Srinagar and Jammu are daily broadcasting Gujjari programs and also the daily news. Such Gujjari programs are broadcast on TV as well. Besides, there is a Gujjari section in Jammu and Kashmir Culture Academy, which annually publishes on their culture and history. Bakerwals are spread throughout the northern part of Himalayan range. This includes the state of Uttarakhand, Himachal Pradesh, Punjab in India and Jammu and Kashmir, etc. In Jammu and Kashmir, Bakerwals are found in all three regions of the state, including Jammu, Kashmir and Ladakh. They are, however, mostly the residents of Kalakot, Riyasi, Rajouri, Udhampur, Samba, Naushera, Banipura, Shopian, Kulgam, Pahalgam, Tral, Uri, etc. During summers, they are even found in Yusmarg, Kokarnag, Dras and other places. Generally, Bakerwals use local herbs and medicinal plants to treat human patients as well as the ill animals. They face much difficulties in treating their dear ones and have to shift such patients into nearby villages, towns, or cities.
जब कोई आदमी बीमार हो जाते हैं वो डांची पर उठा के वो अस्पताल में पहुंचाते हैं श्रीनगर तो बहुत मुश्किल से पहाड़ों से रास्ता निकल के आते हैं.
However, government has facilitated them with mobile veterinary camps where animals are treated free of cost. Medicines are also made available to them, either free of cost or at subsidized rates.
मैं शीप हस्बेंड्री डिपार्टमेंट की तरफ से यहाँ मैं फ्लॉक सुपरवाइज़र हूँ. मैं डिस्ट्रिक्ट बांडीपुरा से हूँ. मेरा कैंप यहाँ है और मेरे साथ और 4 आदमी ड्यूटी है यहाँ. हम यहाँ सर दिन रात बैठते हैं और जो भी कोई परेशानी होगी बकरवाल चौपान में तो हम पूरी तौर उसका अजाला करते हैं.
In case of any serious problems or epidemics, team of doctors and experts visit these places and take control over the situation.